Hello and welcome back to Operations with Void. I'm your host Forgotten Void, and today we will be doing the operation we skipped last week, which is Cherry Blossom. Now I'll be showcasing how to do it in a battleship. This is a Alabama class is what I'll be using. It's not super slow, but still on the slower side of battleships. Its key feature is it has a small turning radius, but otherwise it's very similar to North Carolina, half-sister ship. North Carolina gets a better heel, on the other hand. Alabama may have better guns. It's side grade from North Carolina. But the big thing is it's premium, and that's why I use it. Anyways, with that, Cherry Blossom is the night battle, so you're limited to 17.5 kilometer view range. So for a battleship, that's actually pretty bad, considering, oh look, 24.5 kilometer gun range. So for the first half, you are limited in gun range because of how much you can see. You could use the mini-map to shoot further if you want, kind of like a storm in the PvP, the Cyclone, but you're essentially limited to 17.5 kilometers. And secondary dispersion is also increased, so secondary battleships have a disadvantage in Cherry Blossom. And I am using a 21-point captain. This is a AA build. Conceal with AA build. This is because I want to shoot down all the planes if I get Hermes with this ship. And with that, let's go into battle. So as you saw at the very beginning, this is just a random battle. I'm not with a division or anything. And this is what you can do when you're not in a division and you're not talking to people to ensure that you can get a victory. The first thing is make sure you have HE loaded. I do have expert loader, so it doesn't matter which one I have selected first. I can easily swap to the other. But with the 4 destroyers coming up, 2 Hatsuharu and 2 Shiratsuyu destroyers, you need to have, you don't need to have HE. You could have AP loaded, because with a battleship, the wrong kind of ammunition is better than no ammunition. So it's better to shoot what you have than to switch. Okay, we're detected. That means they're close, and there they are. And 5 hits for 9k, and oh yeah, that one was deleted very quickly. And we're already down to 2. And he's already aiming at the one at more health. And we have AP, even though it didn't even survive until my shells lasted there. So that meant with the destroyers being spotted, they were alive for less than 30 seconds. We actually have a good team. So we have armor piercing. We're trying to get our rear turret around to the other side in anticipation, because we want to go in the center. And so we see him. We're not going to shoot. We're waiting for our turret to turn around. You can shoot and make them move early, but since we see them, but nothing else can shoot at them, we're waiting so that everybody can have a chance to shoot at the stationary target. Well, we get our last turret, and shells are in the air, so we're going to go ahead and throw our shells in the air. And part of why we do this is to hopefully get a higher chance of a citadel. Which we did not. but someone else did. Now the further one, you actually want to get moving earlier, so it's not as important to let everybody shoot at it. You just want to get it moving so it has less time of guns on target. Now I was tempted to swap to HE for the destroyer, and I'm also tempted for the Yahagi up there. But looking, the Yahagi is already half, and then much less with other things shooting at it, so we're going to try for this Myoko, which strangely enough is turning in, which is why I'm hesitating, because normally it turns to the left, but this time it turned to the right. So we're going to go for the Alba instead. And the Alba you actually want slightly angled for a better chance of a citadel and less of a chance of overpenning. Like we got 4 overpens, but we were able to get a single citadel. And as you see, we're pretty much hanging around 20 knots, so we are hanging around the speed of a slow battleship. But that's mostly because we're maneuvering and playing with the throttle. One last salvo out, and then we're loading HE because there should be some destroyers near us, and we were able to sneak in that kill. Now that London has a one-track mind. He is going for those destroyers that are running away, and so I'm asking for his support, pointing where there's going to be more destroyers. But nope, one track mind. Yes, that leaves us. Okay, now there's no more destroyers. Okay, you can turn back now. Because we're detected. And so this is actually a very dangerous spot. If you don't have other players nearby, you should be getting ready to run or be running away in a battleship at this point, because the destroyers are going to be very, very close when they get spotted. But luckily we are more or less surrounded by allies, so that when they do get spotted at 4 kilometers out, it's not just us shooting at them. Okay, we got one down. Now there's one more. And another thing about this spot is we're actually kind of at the spot we want to be with our gun range. Now more of that about that in a little bit, but first we gotta get this second destroyer. And dispersion says no, we only get 1 hit. It's fine. We've had really good dispersion for the most of the game. So as to why we are more or less good where we are, is the max gun range. You can shoot at things at your max gun range pretty easily. So while we're looking at this, what we're actually doing is looking at the mini-map. We're looking at C1 for the air bases. And we're going to look and see. So there's two ways to take out the air bases. One is using the spotter plane where you look at the air base and shoot. The other is here we are. We have max gun range. The mini-map signal is over the air base. We want to unlock on from the AA defenses. Now it's taking a little bit because we're shooting something 24.5 kilometers away, and there our shells hit. If you look at the top, it's now, the southern aerodrome is now at 70,000. Now we're lining up a armor piercing for the Otago. So we have our HE shells away for the aerodrome, and now we're going to start shooting at the Otago before it runs away. You see in the background the shell is falling. And now the aerodrome's at 50% and on fire. And then we have shells up for the Otago. It's actually a tight dispersion. And no more Otago. And we use an expert loader to quickly swap over to high explosive. Now if it's spotted, you can just look at it and it will shoot over the island for you. But if it goes unspotted, then you'll shoot the island in front instead. So that's why we go back to this mode where we aim up a little bit just to make sure our reticle's at max range, and let the shells go over the island onto the airfield. And we're loading armor piercing again just so we can get some more damage against the cruisers, hopefully. And that's another thing. As a battleship, you can focus on the cruisers. The destroyers are probably not going to hit. The cruisers, if you do hit them, you can devastate them and hopefully kill them. Unlike that okay-ish shot. And so if you're in something that's not a battleship, you actually should be focusing on the destroyers, because the battleships don't do well for the destroyers against them. So now we're just waiting for them to turn. So I know they are going to turn. It's a question of which way are they going to turn. And if we actually hit them. So this is actually a very boring and slow play for Cherry Blossom. Rather where cruiser or destroyer are up in the thick of the action. The battleship, you're sitting in the back, you're being slow gunfire support, but also you're staying alive as a slow battleship and not a brawler. The brawling battleships are where you push up at this point. So Massachusetts, something German. This is where they push up. But anything that's slow or, well, not something that's meant to brawl, you can sit back here. You can pummel the aerodromes with HE. Any cruisers with AP. And I'll eat some snacks in between your shells because you're waiting 30 seconds or more. And this is why I think actually battleship play might be the most boring. No, absolutely, submarine is still the most boring. but for Cherry Blossom, Battleship probably is the most boring. Is you get some adrenaline when you blow something up, but otherwise no. So now here we're going to, because the island's in the way and our max range is so high that we have to go 4 kilometers to shoot at this aerodrome, we're going to use the other method, which is the spotter plane, and you press the C on your keyboard. And see how we're not looking at the symbol, but we're looking at the arrow, where the aerodrome is itself. That's because you don't actually have to hit the aerodrome symbol. You just have to hit somewhere at the aerodrome. You see, we hit there and then 27K popped up, and we set it on fire just by hitting the far side. So while yes, it is safer to hit where the symbol is, it's actually a very, very large hitbox. And the hitbox is actually designed where it looks like you're hitting the aerodrome when you're shooting from far away, but actually there's a hitbox above the aerodrome. It's kind of strange. And so here we are, victory, because we sat back and showed the aerodrome. And this is how you can guarantee a win a battleship in Cherry Blossom. You just have to show the aerodromes and such. So we only did 102k damage to ships, and so that puts us lower on the chart, but we're still winning. And it only says we hit 10 out of our 99 shells. We hit more, but it doesn't count how many aerodrome shells hit. So if you notice, the southern aerodrome we took for 93, took all of its HP, and the other we took for 58, and making us the major contributor to the actual win for this game. Anyways, that is Cherry Blossom in a battleship. If you have any questions, or you'd like to see a certain ship featured in a certain or any operation, please let me know in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you thought it was boring, give it a thumbs down. I also thought it was boring. Anyways, if you want to see more content, go ahead and subscribe, and hopefully I see you again next week.